Have you ever stopped to wonder how many versions of yourself you had to leave behind just to fit into someone else's world? How many times you silenced your own desires, buried a dream, or swallowed your truth just to avoid letting someone down? And in the end, what was left? A life full of privilege but shaped by expectations that were never truly yours. Maybe you are tired, not physically, but tired of pretending, tired of shape-shifting, of pleasing. What if I told you there is a way to come back to yourself? Today you'll understand something powerful. The only approval that truly matters is your own. From a young age, we're taught to live by rules. Rules that were never written specifically for you, but that you accepted as universal truths. Go to school. Get good grades, be polite, choose a safe career, make money, get married, have kids, and smile, always smile. And every time you thought of deviating from that script, someone warned you it was dangerous, immature, selfish. So without noticing, you started to suppress parts of yourself. You hid desires. You shelved ideas. You held back tears. Little by little, you traded your authenticity for acceptance. You started wearing masks until you forgot what your face looked like without them. But masks are heavy. And one day, even with a stable job, a happy relationship, and a seemingly perfect life, you wake up with a hollow feeling that no one else seems to understand. A kind of silence inside, a sadness without a name, a disconnection. It is not necessarily depression, nor is it a lack of gratitude. It is simply your soul, suffocating. Because living to meet expectations is like walking through a maze. The more you try to please, the more you lose yourself. And maybe no one ever told you this out loud, but you have the right to stop pretending, to stop performing, to stop becoming what others expect, not to become reckless, but to finally become you. Let's face a truth most people are afraid to admit. You are not tired of life. You are tired of living a life that does not feel like your own. Tired of waking up every day wearing roles you never chose. Tired of forcing conversations, maintaining relationships, and upholding images. Tired of smiling when all you want is to disappear. You are not burned out from what you do. You are burned out from what you suppress. Your desires, your opinions, your pain, your truth. Because deep down, there is a fear, the fear of rejection. You are afraid to disappoint, to be seen as selfish, ungrateful, difficult. So you adapt. But every adaptation takes energy, and when you adapt too much, you disappear. You become a shadow, an echo, a reflection of what others expect. And the worst part? You start to believe that this is normal, that this is just what life is. Heavy, exhausting, quiet. But it's not. The truth is, you are trapped in a toxic cycle, constantly chasing approval from people who do not even know the real you. Constantly waiting for praise, for validation, for a sign that you're doing okay, even though no one ever told you what okay really means. Your self-worth became hostage to outside opinions. And the cost? Your inner peace. But here is something you might have never heard before. You do not need to be loved by everyone. You just need to love yourself enough not to abandon who you are. The biggest trap of adulthood is not failure. It is success lived on autopilot, because no one teaches you that you can build an admirable life and still feel empty. You hit your goals, you get praised, you collect achievements, but inside, nothing shifts. And that is confusing, because theoretically you should feel happy, but you don't. And then you start to think something is wrong with you, that maybe you are ungrateful or too demanding. But the truth is something else entirely. The truth is, you spent so much time becoming what others expected that you forgot to explore who you are. You followed the blueprint of the ideal life, but never wrote your own. And now, even when surrounded by people, you feel alone. Because what's missing is connection. Connection with your essence, with your truth, with what actually makes your soul come alive. Maybe you are surrounded by people, but not by presence. And the most absent presence in your life has been your own. You abandoned yourself to be accepted, but there comes a moment when your soul starts to scream. When the body gets sick, when the mind shuts down, and in that moment something awakens, a discomfort, a no more. Not an angry outburst, but a quiet, deep realization. You are done living a life that does not resemble who you are, and when that moment arrives, there is no going back. Here is the good news. No matter how lost you feel, you can always come back. Back to your truth. Back to your essence. Back to a place where you do not have to prove yourself constantly. Where your existence does not rely on anyone's approval. But to do that, you need courage. The courage to disappoint, to be misunderstood, to walk your own path, even when others do not get it. And yes, at first it hurts. It hurts to say no. It hurts to set boundaries. It hurts to walk away from what wounds you, even if you've grown used to the pain. But then comes the lightness. The relief of looking in the mirror and finally recognizing yourself again. Because you were not born to shrink. You were born to expand, to take up space, to live in honesty with what you feel, think and believe, and that has no price. Enough of trading your peace for crumbs of approval. Enough of living on performance mode. Your life is not a stage, and you are not a character. You are a human being, full of light and shadow and power and truth. Life only truly begins when you stop running from yourself. That is the calling. To come home. To come back to yourself. And if today you choose to take the first step, you do not need to rush. Just stop walking in the wrong direction. Real change does not start when you improve. It starts when you listen, when you stop searching outside for what has always lived inside, when you realize you do not need to do more, have more, please more. You just need to feel again, because it is through feeling that you heal, that you understand yourself, that you rebuild. Life does not demand perfection. It asks for presence. A whole heart is far more powerful than a racing mind. And when you stop fighting yourself, the world stops feeling so harsh. The colors come back, the laughter returns, the will to live rekindles, not from duty, but from joy. Because the greatest strength lies in those who had the courage to rebuild themselves from the inside, without an audience, without a script, without guarantees, only with truth, and one step at a time. If this video touched you, maybe it is not by chance. Maybe your soul is asking for space. Maybe it is time to consciously choose the life you want to build. A life with more pause, more presence, more you. And if you feel like leaving a word, a sentence, a moment of honesty in the comments, I will read with my heart. Because here, you do not need to pretend to be strong all the time. Here you get to be. Fully. You do not need to have all the answers right now, you just need to accept that a path exists, and that it begins with you. If this video moved you, maybe it could reach someone you love too. Someone who is tired as well, but does not know how to ask for help. Share it with them, not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who simply says, I'm trying too. Let's walk this together. And if you want more content that reminds you of who you truly are, no shortcuts, no masks, subscribe to the channel. Here, we are not chasing likes, we are chasing meaning. Until next time, and take care of yourself, for real.